Okay. I'm here with Bonnie sitting on our living room sofa.
What are we doing here?
We're doing our show.
What's our show called?
Nothing but worry.
We have a lot of worry today, don't
It's
we?
appropriate, isn't it? You want to tell what the main worry is?
Car went to the shop.
Yeah, our Prius. What year Prius is it?
2013.
2013 Prius. Having trouble. Thought it was the spark plugs and related, but after we got that fixed, we're still having trouble. So we took it to the actual Toyota dealership, which I thought was they're going to screw us. But they think it's the head gasket, and don't know for certain yet. But
Did a couple of tests overnight to check the pressure and such. But that's where it's leaning right now.
So anyway, we got that to worry about, and
Could be worse. We may end up having to buy a new car. So see,
no, that's not going to
If it's just the
happen.
head gasket, then it's cheaper than a new car.
We're not going to buy a new car.
It's 25% of what a used car goes for, and 1/7 of what the average of a new car is. So,
What is?
the price of repairs. So, if I can pay 1/7 and get it repaired, then I don't have to buy a new car.
Yeah.
Or 1/4, get a used car.
Anyway, what else happened? What else worrying us at the moment?
Your daughter had a car accident this weekend.
Yeah, but it was very minor. But maybe it scared her into stop tailgating people.
Yeah, she's bad about that, and she doesn't listen to us because we're her parents.
She drives a little bit like my dad. My dad stops at the last second on somebody's bumper.
Yep, he sure does. He scares me. I was riding with him the other day. He was driving Gina's Subaru. And I said, "Oh, this is a nice car." And this starts beeping. I said, "What was that?" He goes, it shows the lines on the road and it tells you when you're going out of the lane. He said, "It also has automatic braking if you're getting too close to somebody." And I thought to myself, that's a good thing for him.
Oh,
Oh.
well, this recent shooting in Nashville
Oh, Jesus.
is everybody's up. It's not going to change anything.
It never does.
It's not going to change any opinions of any of the parents of the children at that school.
It'll make
All it will do is make
Yeah.
them harden their opinions, and that all the teachers should walk around with an AR-15 at all times.
That's what happened when my sister died of COVID because she refused the vaccine. All it did was verify their beliefs in God, about heaven, and vaccines being evil, and God's will, and all this other bullshit nonsense. They're going to twist it and turn it to whatever makes sense to them and their ideas.
Yeah. And another thing, folks, like I said on the previous show, they're not going to indict Trump. They're not going to,
No.
because they're afraid of domestic terrorism. They're afraid of violent uprising in the streets. They're not going to do it.
This week I mentioned to you, if I were to write the exact same thing that he wrote publicly on his social media platform, if I wrote it to a federal judge, a sitting congressman, the president, the governor, I would have somebody knocking on my door saying, "Why are you threatening the police? Why are you threatening the judiciary? Why are you threatening whatever?" But he can get away with it.
Yeah.
Double standards.
And the protest in France just shows you how feeble the American people have become, and what a bunch of
Pussies we are.
willing slaves.
Germany has a one-day transportation strike today.
What for?
Wages. It's about wages.
Wages of the train workers?
Yeah.
Or transportation workers?
Yeah. We don't do anything here.
Well, that's because the union's not strong enough here anymore. They used to be.
Broken them all. In places like Germany, you have unions everywhere. You have unions in the military, for God's sake. It just... It's pathetic the way things have gone in this country. People would rather go home and binge watch something on Netflix.
I blame Christianity more than anything else because Christians weakened the education system, and in turn that made the population stupid. So even if they are union members, they can't be educated about how government and big business work hand in hand.
Yeah, but they also have this mentality that we deserve whatever bad thing happens to us because
That's-
we're sinners.
That's a lot of it too. Yeah. Yeah, you have nothing to, you can't,
And
you shouldn't expect anything more than toil.
authority. What God says, you do. And it's the same way with governance or whoever is...
Whoever God has put in charge of you,
Yes.
that, who are you to kick up a fuss?
Unless, of course, they say that God has not ordained that person.
Because they're black,
Yes.
or because they worked with the black guy.
Yeah.
Whoever's richer has clearly been more blessed by God.
What a crock of shit.
What is that golden cup over there next to the...
Oh, it's a reproduction, tourist trade, for Mycenaean culture. It was actually found in the former area of Thrace, but on the cup itself, you have Mycenaean bulls and celebrations.
Okay, where'd you get that at?
A thrift store.
And how long have you had it?
About a month.
Okay. From now on, all purchases must be approved by me.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. So, you want me to run the electric bill by you?
The electric bill is one thing, but,
How about the sugar I put into my lemonade here?
No.
Do I get lemonade? I don't get lemonade anymore, do I?
no more knickknacks is what I'm getting at. We have a book sale coming up, and that's going to be the final.
We don't have money to spend on a book sale.
I've got money.
I've got money, too.
Where do you get any money?
Well, I have cash left over from my day out with Reed because she and I didn't finish. I also have birthday money left over, and that's my emergency reserves. I keep some of it in my wallet and some of it in my cell phone case because you never know when you need a random $50 bill. So,
I've got to get rid of one chair. And
one chair?
Yeah.
Which one?
I've either got to get rid of the yellow chair that's in my room or one of the wooden chairs that came from the Burger King in the studio.
You mean the brown ones, or do you mean the green back? Because the green ones came from your dad.
I don't have one of those in my room anymore, in the playroom anymore.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
I gave that to Goodwill. But the two chairs, one I painted orange, one I painted red,
Yeah.
they're really good chairs.
Yeah, they are.
But
They seem to be better than the green ones.
yeah, they're made of real. They're made to be
The
kicked.
solid wood.
They're made to be kicked around by Burger King customers.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, but at Wendy's back in the, I guess, 70s and 80s, they had those old-fashioned chairs.
You mean the ones that look like the French cafe chairs?
Yeah, or ice cream parlor chairs.
Or the Thornay Bentwoods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if they even know if they have those anymore.
The difference was they didn't have the woven seats. They had some kind of cheesy vinyl, a Naugahyde seat on them, I think.
Oh, we used to get the salad and the potato.
Breadsticks.
Brisket came with the salad.
Yeah.
But the baked potato at Wendy's and a baked potato and a salad was a cheap lunch, and it was great.
And breadstick. I have to say that because the kids were crazy about breadsticks too. We used to go over there and feed the kids off of that.
Yeah.
We'd go over there and get a couple of those and an extra potato or two, depending on how old they were, and coat everything with sour cream and butter and salt and pepper and throw in some cheese from the salad, and the kids would go crazy about the things. And
When Reed was a baby,
breadsticks.
I was working at UGA, and we drove over to that Wendy's that's across from the mall, and then we parked down next to the old Walmart, and we ate in the car, and I thought it was fantastic.
It was perfect. Hot potato, cold salad, those tiny little red tomatoes that just popped in your mouth, a little bit of cheese you could put on the from the salad on the other. And what did we have? Usually a ranch dressing. It was pretty basic, or a Caesar.
I think so.
And I can't remember. Were there cucumbers on there?
I think, yeah.
So it was
had
a very basic salad.
Tiny,
It was really good.
shredded carrot.
Yes. Yeah, so we can mix that up in the potato and Reed wouldn't know.
Well, she was a little bitty thing. She didn't.
Yeah, we would feed her from our fingers or from the end of a spoon or whatever we had. I remember being at the burrito place. What was that place called?
Mean Bean?
Mean Bean. And taking my fingers and putting it into the bean burrito and feeding Peter in his stroller with the edge of my finger. He was just a tiny little thing.
Do you
like
remember
4,
eating
5,
it?
6 months old.
Peter was in the stroller. We were eating at
The pizza
Savaro's.
place. Yes.
And
No.
Yeah.
He kept looking up from the stroller. More.
I was putting garlic powder all over mine, and he was eating it.
Yeah, he still likes garlic on his pizzas.
There was another place I was going to think about. Oh, we had that giant Oldsmobile that we got from my grandfather.
It had this, the ceiling of it started coming undone. And so it starts hanging down. It was like a gypsy wagon.
Yeah, but there was a place in town for years called Shrimp Boats. And they went out of business, and this Korean guy and his son took over the place. And they changed it to China Boats. I guess they were Korean, I don't know. But anyway, his son was in the physics program at UGA, because I remember seeing him. But anyway, they changed it to Shrimp Boats, because that way they only had to change half the sign. And they had Chinese food, and it was fantastic. And we would get it to go. And I remember parking on Cloverhurst, I think it was, in that Oldsmobile, and feeding Reed.
Yeah, in her car seat. I was pregnant with Peter, just barely pregnant with Peter. And we'd gotten the lo mein noodles with Mongolian sauce and vegetables. And we would feed her the broccoli, tiny little bits of broccoli. We would feed her little pieces of the lo mein, and then the broccoli, and I'd say, eat your little trees. And the egg roll. She got to the point where eventually she was old enough to hold it on her own.
Yeah.
And she would bite, or we would have to bite the end off, taking the end off a cigar. And she could nom, eat on the small little bits that were chopped up.
Yeah. Oh,
she was
God.
15 months, a year and a half at that point. She was tiny still.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Peter was the big eater.
The book sale at the Athens Library is coming up.
It'll be a bust.
No, I got some good stuff last time.
We walked away last time because they weren't open.
No. We went last time, and I got that Henry Rollins Band album. I got a Lot Crow's album. I got a couple of things. But anyway, I went into the library over the weekend, and they just let that place go to hell. And anyway, so
terrible.
I decided we're going to go to the book sale, and that's the last time I'm ever going to set foot in that library ever again.
It has become a secondary shelter for the homeless. They had to close it not once but twice in January, I think it was, or was it December, for a bed bug infestation. Because the people go in there and they sleep, watch porn, and hang around just anywhere and everywhere and bathe in the bathrooms. It's gotten to be such a problem, they've actually sent a social worker to the place that works there full time so they can have somebody to direct these people to resources. What they need to do is set up a shelter right next to it. About 20 years ago, all the homeless people were sleeping in this park off North Avenue, and they were congregating underneath the bridge at North Avenue, and there were several stabbings. and they were trying to run the homeless people out of the park, and somebody had this genius idea. So why don't we have a shelter here? So they put a shelter in on one of the adjacent corners next to the bridge, and now they don't have that problem. The homeless people do hang out in the park all day, but they have a place they can go in and they can shower, they can wash their clothes, they can get either 2 or 3 meals a day, and some have shelter provided overnight, depending on things.
You see, Republicans, though, they hear that and they go, well, why would anybody work or own a house if you can just get all that for free? Okay, then, smartass, you go do it. You go live like that. If if you think that that's all that matters.
Having volunteered for a couple of years at a homeless shelter when I was 19 and 20, I know just how hard off these people are. Every week I would go over there and I would work Sunday mornings to Sunday afternoons because other people didn't want to do it. They wanted to go to church, and I wasn't church going. And I would go in there, and then the churches would send somebody every once in a while, or some university group would volunteer, and they'd send people over to help out with lunch. But I was in charge of breakfast. I had to get breakfast out all by myself. And then they would send somebody in, some campus group or whatever. And then I would tell them basically, you empty this into this pot, and we cook this up, and then we're going to use these donations and such. And people did not want to be there, but they had to be there. And the majority of people who were there were women with children. Their stories were many. Some had lost everything financially. Some had lost their husbands, their spouses. Some had medical. Some had mental health issues, though we couldn't keep anybody that caused big problems. And later, my friend Marcus ended up being overnight staff there, and he said that's where it got really interesting. And he was a psych major, and he took it upon himself to think that he could provide help for these people. And he would hear their stories, and I would have to reel him in and go, you can't believe everything. And sure enough, he had some problems with some of the people there, conning other people. Poor people conning other people. And it's desperate people in desperate times.
Well, at the library, the thing about the library is it's just gotten so... When I was a kid, you went to the library and you shut your mouth and you're supposed to be quiet. And now people just talk out loud, or even...
Play their television shows out loud.
Yeah, it's just...
Or put their phones on speaker.
Oh, dear.
It's...
When Reed was little, she was upstairs with me, and Dean Tate's son used to work there, and he told me that either Reed had to be quiet or I had to take her out.
Yes.
They'd never do that now.
No.
Oh, Bonnie started watching the new Perry Mason show. It came out in 2020. I had no idea.
Yeah, I didn't know it existed until I got a copy of it the other day.
But anyway, as usual, I'm passing through the room and she's watching it, and I'm like, get sucked into watching this now.
Did you watch some of it this morning when I was gone?
No, the internet connection was working fine. That was the other worry.
Yeah, our internet sucked.
Yeah, but I got home and Peter said, "Oh, it's been working fine all night. It's been working fine ever since last night."
Ever since I complained twice over the weekend.
They know.
They know.
They know exactly.
They know it's shit.
What
gets me is we can't get better service, even though 5 miles over, 10 miles over, one county line over, which is 7 miles away, they have extremely high 100 megabytes per second, and we're lucky if we can even get 1 megabyte per second.
I think they have a map with lights that light up, and they go, okay, well, this area here, they're getting shitty service right now. And this person complained. Okay, pipe them in some better service for about a week or so to keep them quiet.
Well, I did check the account today. They did give me a $50 credit for the month, and then they're going to start giving me a $10 credit for 12 months, supposedly. But it doesn't help when you are trying to pay bills, or you're trying to communicate, trying to sell something, trying to buy something, etc. online. It doesn't help if it keeps dropping, and there were times that it was dropping 20 and 30 times a day. 3 to 4 times an hour on average. It was ridiculous.
Well, it's just like when I was a kid, the other side of the road had cable and we didn't. You know, if we could have bought my grandparents' house,
Ugh.
we would have made do with it.
It was tiny. It was also overpriced.
Well, we would have gotten all those outbuildings.
In a constant state of decay. It was too
No.
small. It was overpriced. They wanted $259,000. We paid a third of that for this house. And it's 2,500, 2,300 square feet, and that one was 1,100?
I don't remember.
No. And we would have had to put up with all of your relatives making some comments. Well, why'd you do this? What you gonna do with this? Blah, 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 blah. No. 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 You remember after he died, they were trying to sell that truck, and they wanted $7,500 for a 45-year-old truck that was rusting out in the garage.
Still, I could have died there and come full circle.
We should have gotten your parents' place up on the hill for $90 a year. It was $90 that first year, but we didn't have it.
No, I wouldn't want to live in that place.
It was a lot better than your grandparents across the street.
That house on the hill is just
So people are probably listening going, wait
nondescript.
a minute, across the hill, down the hill. Lance, how many of your relatives live around here? What's the story, Lance?
No, we don't have time to go into that right now.
Oh, yes, we do.
But one day I'm going to make an actual video with somebody filming me, and we're going to drive down the road and go, I used to live here,
Or
and
we
then I
could
used to live
walk.
here, and then I used to live here.
Yeah. How many houses did your parents go through? 5 when you were growing up?
1, 2, 3, 4.
And the trailer.
4 plus a trailer makes 5.
Oh, Lord. And all of it came from, well, part of it came from your granddad's property and him doling it out.
Yeah.
And was it his brother or father or who lived close to him, next to him and across the street?
His brother lived across the street, and his in-laws lived next door.
Christ.
You can't help.
And then your dad had a house across the street, and then a trailer across the street, and then another house across the street, and then another house across the street.
You can't help but recapitulate what your previous generations have
Oh, Lord.
passed on to you.
And now your dad's putting in a house around the corner
Yeah.
after having 2 houses since he left these 5 out here. So he's on his 8th, isn't he?
I don't know.
Well, he had 5 with you,
Okay.
and then had 2 in Athens, and now is on his 8th house.
All right.
Jesus.
On that note, we got to wrap it up. All right. Anything else?
Hell no.
All right.